Hi, welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. And listen, just can't get away from this guy. Is he going to be another Benzema? Everybody remember last season, practically every day I was mentioning Karim Benzema. Led to some people labelling the show Benzema Daily. And this season, so far, it seems to be Morata Daily, because Alvaro Morata, yet again today, linked heavily with Arsenal. More talk of Morata flying around. This time, Morata himself, he spoke to the media outlet AS, and these are his quotes. He said, "There's some offers from England that are tempting, not only by the contract. I think my characteristics, the Premier League would also be a great destination." So that's him himself saying that, you know, he's obviously looking at the Premier League. He's obviously interested in coming to the Premier League. I've said to you guys already that my understanding of it is that he is priority number one for Arsenal. That is the guy that they'd like to buy. We know about the complications of it, the fact that he's on loan at the moment to Juventus. But for what we're hearing, Real Madrid willing to buy him back, then sell him on for a massive profit, and that they're wanting something towards 35, 40 million pounds, which is a lot of money for a guy, as we've discussed many a times. Doesn't have a prolific goal scoring record, but it has the potential to be massive. As I said, we know that Arsenal are very interested in him. Other English clubs will be interested as well. The English clubs have got the money this season. Without a doubt, nobody's going to have the sort of money, apart from, like you say, your big other clubs in Europe, like your PSGs, Barcelonas, Real Madrids. Nobody's going to have the money that the clubs in the English Premier League have. On the PSG thing, they're another club, actually, that are very interested in Morata. So, you know, Arsenal will face a lot of competition from them. But, you know, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with Morata. Which club would Morata come to in England? He's saying there that his style of football will suit the English Premier League. And I was looking into it and thinking to myself, well, which club would he come to in the Premier League? Had a look at all of them. And these are let's just have a look at the main choices. They're going to be the big boys. So you got Chelsea that he could choose, but then they've already got Diego Costa. So he may end up playing number 2 there. Manchester United, but they've got Rashford, Martial, Rooney, possibly Ibrahimovic. So would they move him for Morata? Possibly, because remember, Jose Mourinho would know him from his days at Real Madrid and would know the potential. But also no Champions League football for either of those two clubs. No Champions League football at Chelsea, no Champions League football at Manchester United here in the Europa League. So would he choose any of those two? Then there's the other two, Manchester City. They've already got Aguero up front. So again, his time starting games will be limited, as Wilfred Boney found out. They've got Iheanacho as well, who's coming up very, very well up behind Aguero. So would he choose City? And then the other choice is, I suppose, Tottenham Hotspur. But would he choose Tottenham? You know, would he choose Tottenham? I mean, would he start every week at Tottenham? He wouldn't, would he? Because Harry Kane is the main man at Tottenham. So would he start a club where he could start every week if he got his shooting boots on? He'd have Mesut Ozil, guys like that, Sanchez playing alongside him. Is Arsenal. You can see why Arsenal is a great proposition for a guy like Alvaro Morata to progress his career. Will Arsenal move for him before the Euros? Suppose he goes into the Euros and he plays really, really well for Spain. That price is going to go right up, or Real Madrid might opt to keep him. So be interesting to see what Arsenal do about it this week. It may be too late for them to move for him before. Maybe they've made moves already. I don't know, but we're going to have to watch this one. But certainly the Morata thing is going to run and run throughout the summer until he decides where he's going to end up. But he's not going to be at Juventus next season. Even their own management and that have, you know, literally come out and said he's definitely on the move. So will Morata be an Arsenal player? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, another guy that we seem to be talking about every day. Remember, I spoke about the coach of Gabon, the country that he plays for, coming out and saying that he hadn't selected Aubameyang to play in a friendly because he was sorting out his next move. And it caused a lot of controversy. Dortmund came out and said it's absolute nonsense. Well, one of his teammates now has come out and has also weighed into the whole thing, which is not going to please Borussia Dortmund at all. But he said, his teammate said, I think he wants to move to England. That's his quote. He was speaking to the BBC World Service, and he said, his name's called Daniel Cousin, his teammate, and he said, I think he wants to move to England. And then he also suggested that he thinks that Aubameyang would be suited to clubs like Manchester United and Manchester City, but also went on to speak about Arsenal. And he said, if I was choosing his club, it would be Arsenal. I think if he played with Ozil and his assists, he would play very well. So, yet again, the Aubameyang rumours flying around. Would he move to England? And if he did, where? And again, looking at all those clubs, which one of those would he be more likely to start at? It would be Arsenal, but you still think to yourself, like a gentleman suggested yesterday, why would he want to move from Dortmund to Arsenal? Because it's not, at the moment, there's no difference between the two teams. You could argue that possibly Dortmund possibly are a better team, possibly. I mean, they finished runners-up in their league as well, but it's not going to be a massive step up for him. But then there's always this, the money. Arsenal be able to pay him way, way more than what he gets at Borussia Dortmund. Again, it's another one we're going to have to watch and see, but he will be hot property wherever he goes. Not sure if it's going to be Arsenal, but certainly there seems to be something behind this where everybody's suggesting that, Dortmund might be coming out and saying it's nonsense, but this is two people now in his camp that has come out and said this. Where have they got it from? I don't know. Another guy that's emerged, and this is a target, plays for Inter Milan, centre-back, goes by the name of Jason Murillo. He plays for Inter Milan, centre-back. He's Colombian, 24 years of age. They actually bought him from Granada for £6 million in 2015. Now said to be rated and rated around the £19 million mark. So that price has shot up. He's highly rated, partnered Miranda, the excellent Miranda, for Inter Milan last term in the heart of the Inter Milan defence. They only conceded 38 goals, that defence, and as I said, we're being told that he could be available for £19 million. Again, it looks like Arsenal are looking at centre-backs. They definitely want to get a centre-back in by the looks of it, because, I can always then hark back to last summer when we were looking at so many strikers and we ended up buying none. But I think it's essential that Arsenal get in a centre-back this term. And we're being told that Callum Chambers is going to be going out on loan. It seems to be pointing a lot towards him going out on loan. Arsene Wenger wants him to get more experience. He played in the Toulon tournament, and I'm surprised he would be glad to have been playing for once. And you know what? The couple of games that Callum Chambers played for Arsenal last season, he actually played very well, like in the FA Cup and that. But he needs game time. He needs to be playing week in, week out. Looks like Arsenal may loan him out, which again means that we're going to need a centre-back in. Southampton's been suggested as a place he may go back to. There's also suggestions for Bournemouth, Swansea, all of these sort of clubs. I think it would be a good move to send Callum Chambers out on loan for a year, let him really learn his trade week in, week out, and then come back to Arsenal, because I think potentially there is a top player there. Another player, Arsenal player, who's looks like he's going to be back out on loan is Dan Crowley, highly rated midfield player, youngster, plays for Arsenal. But again, he was on loan last year to Barnsley. But again, we're being told that Arsene Wenger is looking to put him back out on loan again so that he can learn his trade again. Listen, these are guys of lots of potential, but just not quite ready. There's also guys at Arsenal like Christian Bielik. Again, very, very talented. What's going to happen to these guys? We'll have to wait and see, but maybe some of them need a bit more game time. Game time for any of these players, a good run of games can really, really bring them to the fore. I mean, we saw with John Torrell last season at Birmingham how he excelled. So let's wait and see what happens there. Let's get into some of your comments. from yesterday. Keep them coming in. Really, really appreciate them. Had loads yesterday. Ramaya Richard says, these are his ins, because I asked you for who do you think should come in and go out. He said ins, Rodriguez, Koulibaly, Kante, Lacazette and Lukaku. Surprisingly, we haven't heard any links with Arsenal to Lacazette so far this summer. Very interesting that. Out Gibbs, Ramsey, Walcott and loan out Campbell, he says. Okay. And you know what? Alexandros Panaya, in reply to him, said Lacazette is so average. Lukaku isn't going to come to Arsenal because they won't dish out 70 million for a 23-year-old. Well, Lukaku's not worth 70 million anyway, if that was the sort of money that was being asked for him. If it was around about the 50 million mark, I'd say good shout. That guy Falcone says Benatia should be our priority. Benatia's a top player. I wouldn't mind him at all coming in at Arsenal. Prabhu says Kalidou Koulibaly and Ricardo Rodriguez, 30 million and 90 million, offloading Gibbs for 12 million would solve our defending problems. It'd be a shame to see Kieran Gibbs go, you know. I really like Kieran Gibbs. It's a real Arsenal player, I feel, but he's just not getting the chances. Monreal's just been so, consistent that you just can't drop Monreal at the moment. Humaid Haider says we should go in for Isco. We need a right midfielder. Isco can play there. He's not a regular at Real Madrid. If we pay like 35 million for him, we can get him. People underestimate that position. Only Alexis is a world-class winger. Isco's quality, but will Real Madrid sell him? I mean, when he came on the other night as well, he was superb. I think he'd be a brilliant replacement for Santi Cazorla long term, but Real Madrid, are they going to sell a guy that, the fans love him? Isco there. And there was, a time that he was looking like he was going to leave around about Christmas time when him and Rafa Benitez fell out when Benitez was still at Real Madrid. But since Zinedine Zidane's taken over, he seems to be really happy at the club. So it doesn't look like Isco will be on the move this season. And Mustafa Gerald said, if we sign Rodriguez and move Monreal to centre-back, he said, would Monreal move to centre-back then, I assume? I hope not, because, that's not where I want to see Nacho and Monreal. Listen, for me, it's about competition for places. If, say we bought Rodriguez, it's competition for those. I want quality competition in all areas. That's what I want. So when a player goes out there, he has to fight tooth and nail every game to keep his position. I think that's part of the problem at the moment with Giroud. If you remember earlier on in the season when he faced competition for his place from Theo Walcott, when it was basically Arsene Wenger was saying, right, it's between the two of you. Go out there and show me what you've got, and between the two of you it would be who starts. Giroud was playing really well. The minute Walcott got injured, and then after that, it fell off a form. Giroud more or less assumes that, yeah, I'm starting. I don't know. His performances seem to drop. If there's proper competition in there, he's going to have to work his ass off to keep his place. And by the way, Giroud scored a great goal last night for France. But, this is what makes players produce it week in, week out. And that's why I personally would love to see competition in all places. Let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching today. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Man Like Robbie. Got a great video going up today. If you're looking to go to France for the Euros, telling you how to get there. We've got loads of Euro stuff that's going to be going on over on that channel, including reviews, loads of stuff. We're going to be going over to France for a couple of the games as well. So if you want to get involved and find out what's going down with the Euros, the Man Like Robbie channel is going to be the channel for you. Also over here on Arsenal Fan TV, we'll be following the Arsenal players at the Euros, tracking all of them, seeing how they're getting on. And we've also got some great content coming up over the summer. We're going over to the friendlies for Arsenal over there in the States. Looking forward to getting over there. We're going to be on top of everything Arsenal, especially the transfers. I just want a striker and a centre-back. Listen, make us happy this summer, Arsene Wenger. Please make us happy. Thanks for watching. We'll be back around about the same time tomorrow.